Your play button pointed right, and so did your fast forward button, but rewind time always points left. Even across the world in Japan, Mario is eternally condemned to run from left to right. It's not just him. A bunch of other game characters always move towards their pointless objectives in the right direction. Clocks rotate clockwise or towards the right, and even our books read from left to right with an asterisk. We'll get into that later. All this probably has something to do with the fact that we're mostly righties. Our eating, writing, and righty-tighties are all built to more easily use our dominant right hand. This world is built by right-handed people for right-handed people. Which makes me curious, how come lefties didn't go extinct already? Regardless of your race, gender, location, or even time in history, you'll find that most of the people around you are, and always have been, primarily right-handed at approximately a 90-10 ratio. To be fair, the specific numbers really do vary by the sample. For instance, Japan and South Korea only have 2 to 5% of their population as lefties, while the Netherlands have 13.2%. This is super weird if you think about it. Out of all vertebrates, or animals with spines, only dolphins or fellow primates like gorillas or chimpanzees have such an overwhelming right-handed population. If you take a look at the prehistoric human relics, you'll find that they were mostly made for righties, and the fossils show that our far ancestors held meat with their right hand, for the most part, as they feasted. The Australopithecus came online as early as 5 million years ago, while Homo sapiens appeared around 200,000 years ago, so we could see that we neglected our left hands even before we split off into our specific human species. So, why do humans, primates, and dolphins have this particular trait in common? A popular theory says that it's because of the difference between the left brain and the right brain. I'm sure we all remember how the right side of our bodies are more affected by the left brain and vice versa. Well, generally, the left brain handles spatial awareness, calculation, language, and social skills, while the right brain handles visual images, emotion, and intuition. The OP perks that got us to the top of the food chain include cooperation, logical thinking, and language, which are all reliant on advanced left brain capabilities. Whether our left brain developed because we were primarily right-handed, or whether we became primarily right-handed because of a developed left brain, is a chicken and egg problem that I don't know the answer to. Regardless, human civilization was naturally built for right-handed people, and you'll never guess how deep this goes. Let's just take a look at our dinner table, yeah? In the West, the dishes are in the middle, the fork goes to the left, while the knife and spoon are to the right. In the East, the rice bowl is on the left, the soup bowl is in the middle, while the spoon and chopsticks are on the right. Well, what about writing? Different languages, write in different directions, I hear you smugly ask. Writing from left to right seems convenient from a righty's point of view because you don't get ink on your hands and smudge the whole thing. But then, Arabic and Hebrew write from left to right, and the East Asian countries write from up to down. No correlation here for the right-handed conspiracy theory, or is there? Most alphabets in the world descend from the Phoenician alphabet, which was etched into stone by holding a chisel in the left hand and a hammer in the right. It was way easier to hammer letters into rocks from right to left, and so it was, well, set in stone that way for Hebrew or Arabic. On the other hand, most Eastern characters find their origins in the Chinese Han characters, which were written in narrow bamboo sticks. These bamboo sticks were strung together and rolled up into bamboo books, and you would unravel a segment, write in it with your right hand, and move on to the next one. This is why they tend to read from up to down, then right to left. Well, why do countries drive on different sides of the road then? This too is because the world was made for right-handed people as well. Britain, the lead runner of the Industrial Revolution, had carriages on the left side of the road way before cars. The coachman would sit on the right side so he could whip the horse with his right hand without slapping the guy riding shotgun, the customer, or the unlucky pedestrian. When cars took over, this naturally translated to driving on the left side of the road with the steering wheel on the right. Countries that were strongly influenced by Britain followed this tradition and still drive on the left side of the road today. What about the other countries that don't follow this convention? In the early 1900s, the emerging car market was taken over by American and German companies. This was before cars were all automatic transmission, which meant that you actually had to use a stick shift and gear knob to drive. Of course, this is a difficult task reserved for the trusty right hand, and therefore the wheel was located on the left side of the car, and therefore the cars drive on the right side of the road. Fine, The whole world was built for righties, but it must have been really tough for a lefty to survive in such a hostile environment. The 10% minority lefties have always been heavily discriminated against in a world by righties, of righties, and for righties. For most languages on Earth, left is associated with bad, while right is associated with, well, being goddamn right. As you can imagine, society wasn't all too kind on lefties throughout history, if not accusing them of witchcraft outright. The ancient Greeks or Chinese tried to beat the left-handed preference out of their kids, while the Hindus or Muslims later went as far as reserving the left hand for literally wiping your ass and reserving the right for eating or working. In violent, war-torn feudal Europe, the left hand was a symbol of betrayal and bad luck. You see, people carried weapons with their right hand, so shaking somebody's unarmed right hand signified, hey, I don't intend on murdering you at this very moment. A lefty, however, could easily skewer you with a weapon in their left hand during a handshake, so, of course, those unpredictable bastards weren't to be trusted. But you see, this very unpredictability is why lefties didn't go extinct despite living in a hostile environment for millions of years. If you take a look at the feudal European castles, the stairs spiral up the towers. The vast majority of them spiral clockwise because it's just way easier to defend against enemies that way. The invaders climbing up the staircase are forced to deal with this stupid wall in the middle of their swing, while the defenders could easily strike down. Well, this overwhelming defender's advantage changes if the attacker is a lefty. You could climb the staircase while attacking no problem, and that's a massive threat to the defenders. Practically all the battle tactics optimized for taking down the average opponent go out the window when facing a lefty. This isn't limited to just warfare. Lefties have a significant advantage in one-on-one skirmishes or even street fights. Lefties train their entire life against right-handed opponents because righties make up approximately 90% of the population. Righties, however, have comparatively little experience against lefties, which is what makes lefties so strong. There are actually studies that claim that the percentage of lefties in a population directly correspond to its violence. For instance, the Dioula people of Burkina Faso, famous for being peaceful, only have a 3.4% lefty population. However, the Yanomami people of the Venezuelan jungle, famous for being not peaceful, have a 22.6% lefty population, more than twice the human average. The biggest proportion of lefties can be found in the modern interpretation of battle, sports. Lefties dominate adversarial sports like baseball, fencing, ping pong, and boxing, where they always have the upper hand and are celebrated for what makes them unique. If the right hand symbolizes cooperation and conforming, perhaps the left hand symbolizes competition and individuality. In fact, a disproportionate number of famous people in history were left-handed, with a lot of them being artists or soldiers. Maybe the only lefty genetics left in our gene pool are the ones that were strong enough to spite God. I'll admit, it's probably not easy to navigate the world as a lefty. Surviving as a left-handed person in this world and not letting your parents beat it out of you as a child is like selecting a difficult, but potentially game-breakingly OP build at the start of the game. If you're a lefty, please let us know some of your experiences in the comments down below. What's most inconvenient for you? What advantages do you find in life? If you're, normal, like the rest of us, please send this video to a lefty and let us know what they have to say for themselves. This has been David Bradford from Knowledge Raiders, and thank you for watching.